Well, I've clicked the record button, and so now I get to say, yo, what up? How's it going, man?
It's going good, going good.
Good to hear. So we got Nezu, version 3 of 17. You have 17 planned Nezu versions, or you've made 17, and you're only showcasing number 3?
No, so I was watching your stream yesterday on the testing, and one of the comments y'all made about Nezu was, Nezu is a character that'll take 17 versions before they get the right one. So I was like, okay, let's see what he'll look like after 17 versions.
Love
so
that.
You're going to help me make version 4.
Love that. Okay, I'm here for it. I am here for it.
You know, I read his ability. I'm like, I know what that magic card is, so.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So hit me with the pitch. What's the goal here? What are we trying to do?
So, as I said, when I looked at him, I saw, and I was like, I know what that magic card is. To me, did you ever play Magic the Gathering?
I know the mechanics of Magic the Gathering, but I've never played
so
like
a card
a
in Magic
competitive
called
or whatever.
Rhythmic Study.
Sure.
That says whatever your opponent casts a spell, they either have to pay 1 or you draw a card.
Sure.
And to me, Nezu's response reads very similar to that. Obviously, there's no paying mechanics like mana and stuff like that, but it's after your rival draws 1 or more cards during the combat phase, and if the combat phase is what I understand it to be, due to a non-character effect, you draw a card. So the plan was to use as many different things to either force my opponent to draw or give them the option to draw during the combat phase to also replenish my resources.
Sure. Yeah, that's rad. Oh, that's cool. So what's the goal? What do you need? What do you want help with?
So I had some questions so I put 2 cards in the sideboard, wanted to get your opinions on them. A question on to make sure I understood a card correctly, because I think it works the way I think it does. And also I have only, because Nezu's other ability is the once per turn discard 1 card to add 1 card of the same difficulty. But only have 1 3-cost foundation.
Sure.
So since we're in chaos, like, would the other 3-cost foundations be worthwhile to put in to try to get? Because the only one I have is in the Typhoon.
Yeah. And honestly, like, that card's like not even that splendid, you know?
No, it's not. But with Nezu's ability to just, if he's playing against somebody whose entire mechanic, like Bakugo, all of Bakugo's fire, I draw this card, I draw these cards.
Sure.
That Nezu's just going to rack up cards that he goes, oh, okay, now I have plenty of fire to just pour into the Typhoons.
Fair. Super fair. I'll go all the way back to the top real quick. I want to talk about this card as well. Okay. Well, I have a small list here of things. And the thing that I guess I want to talk about first is Zero Gravity Barrier, a card that you added in. This card's rad. This card's very, very cool. I didn't even think about the fact that, like, if they draw a card, you get to draw a card as well.
Yeah.
I think this card is super worth to include. This card's sweet.
And then if it's the only one, the other thing that I thought about in combination with that is that if you go to, I might not have put it yet, one of the other 3 difficult foundations you can look at is Friend of Animals.
Sure.
I would have to put more ally attacks in to work with it, but like, you have 1 Zero Gravity Barrier in there, and then you could Friend of Animals to sneak that momentum into there to trigger it's enhanced ready to go.
True. I mean, I think what you do instead is Blue Flame Palm Strike. Reveal the top 3 of your deck, add a card, reveal this way to your momentum, discard the rest. This card is insanely good. Like, actually nuts good. It's probably better than Indiscriminate Shock, but Indiscriminate Shock, like, kills people. Or sorry, 13 million volts. That's what I meant to say. I
Because there's
hate
2 indiscriminate
I
shots
hate
now.
that this name and this name are actually the exact same. Ridiculous, terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, 13 million volts is like, it kills people for sure. But like, this card also can, which is something, you know. And I think this card is just bad. I think this card's just abysmal. And this card is trash tier. I think the only person that gets to play this card is somebody like Dobby.
So the reason why I put it in there is because, to me, it's enhanced my rival discards a card, they draw a card, I draw a card.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I think the issue, though, is this number.
Yeah.
We don't have a way to, like, make that number better. And so, like, even, like, versus the mirror match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is you drawing a card worth them taking 2 damage? 2 damage. Like, I think like the goal should just be to kill them, right? Like, I think you've got other, if you didn't have things like 0 gravity barrier, which like can threaten 3 to 6, right? If you didn't have things like competitor, yeah, I think this card would be cool.
Yeah.
It's just such a weenie move, and there's not really a way to like make it bigger. There just isn't, right? Like, if we had some sort of way to like give it stats, I think I'd be in. It's just such a little baby.
It was a holdover from version 1, which actually started off as Order.
Yeah.
Because with Order, like, I would have gotten Indiscriminate Chunk, the combo kick from Ida's DLC that does the same thing.
Sure.
And then 13's attack, which is they remove a card, and if they have 2 or less, they draw a card. So in that package, you have 3 different attacks that can net you more cards.
Let's see. Other attack-wise that I had was just Cheerful Uppercut, because I think being able to discard a 5 diff and go find Uppercut every turn is messed up. This card's so good. It's like the same idea of like discarding your Indiscriminate Shock to go find your Ice Storm.
Yeah, my game against Barry Everson's Coda deck showed me why I need to have Cheerful Uppercut in my backdraft deck.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the same time, like, this card also sometimes like a 5 low for 8 that they just got to deal with, right? Like, if they just like don't have an answer to it, you just sling it at them. It's still a charge, so it makes all of that happen. Here's my next big question: what's up with this guy?
So this is the card that the other one that I had question of, is the way that I read and the way that I understand that Nezu's ability works. Is I discard 1 momentum. After this attack resolves, we both clear our card pool and draw 2 cards, which means I will get to draw an additional card.
True. Yep, 100% correct.
And so I had it in there, and version 2, I took it out, but I was like, I think then I had to go back into the rule book and actually read the rules again.
Yeah.
To understand what combat phase was.
Sure. Yeah. Combat phase is anything after the start phase and before the end phase.
Yeah. And so version 2 originally had UA High, and then I realized that UA High only triggered at the end of the turn, so Nezu's ability wouldn't trigger.
Correct. Yeah, I is Heroic Clash a mandatory? Do we have to have this card in our deck?
No.
Okay.
It was something that I just thought was a neat idea. If anything, like, if I might put it to 1, but it's not necessary.
Do I have to have Indiscriminate Shock in this deck?
I don't. Maybe, possibly not. Like, if
you tell me, man, it's your deck. I want to help you make the best deck, right? And if you've got some things that you're not willing to budge on, then I can work around that. I just want to see where you're at.
So when looking at it, because I want to try to make as much use of Nezu's response as possible. Like, I think that is the crux of what his character is.
Sure.
And how many 4 diff attacks do we have? I forget.
4, 8, 12, 15, 17.
Because the other idea is having enough for, which obviously we'll now have enough even if we take those out, is to, let's say I draw 2 electric jolts, discard 1 electric jolt to get a double jab pummel.
Sure. Yeah, that's great.
The indiscriminate shot can go, and the heroic clashes can go.
Okay. Here is the compromise that I'll make you. Have you play tested with indiscriminate shock yet? To like draw the bonus card and all that jazz?
Yeah, and while it gives me the extra card, I had what you were saying. It's not the damage that I need.
Yeah. Here's how I feel. You ready? I think this is the definition of a one-of in your deck. I think that you get to play this card in such a unique way, and sometimes making your rival discard the random card so that you can draw 2 cards might be worth trading it out, like an Ice Storm or a Heroic Clash if you don't have the momentum or something like that, right? Like, I think that there are cases where you want to play indiscriminate shock, and so trading out a double jab pummel for the shock might be worth it. Fair?
So drop the double jab to 3 and indiscriminate to 1?
I put indiscriminate to 1, and we're gonna keep double jab at 4 because I think that the card's
okay. That's what I was like.
Up.
Yeah, that was like double jabs.
We're gonna put in 2 uppercuts.
Okay.
Just because this card is so exceptionally good at disruption, and it's just a kill you card. It just kills you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does this number look like?
How many cards?
Yeah. What do you want it to be at?
Well, so my thought was of him being able to draw more cards than potentially drawing a lot more cards than normal, depending on his matchup or who he's going against. I wanted to have a bit of a thicker deck to make sure I don't deck myself out too quickly.
Sure, totally fine. Yeah, this is not a question of like I think that you're wrong because of this number. This is I want to get your opinion so that I can make the best choices for yours or make the best suggestions, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. My thought on it was a larger deck. Like if it's too small of a deck, you're running out of resource too quickly. A large enough deck gives you enough wiggle room to draw those extra cards.
Sure. Okay. I really like Blue Flame Palm Strike, but I think Blue Flame Palm Strike is just really good exclusively because like it turns on Heroic Clash, and that's cool. That's really, really cool. Like you can just like Blue Flame Palm Strike, instantly snap your momentum, play an attack, Heroic Clash, with having not had momentum previously in the turn, and just let it rip. It's very, very good. At the same time, it just doesn't have your keyword, right? It doesn't have the charge keyword. So maybe it becomes an instance of like you take double jab and put it down to a 3 of. You take Blue Flame Palm Strike and you put it in at a 1 of. Or heck, I mean we still have 21 here. We could just put this back up if we were trying to run the 22 attacks, right? And like understand this card doesn't have the keyword, so it doesn't. The only thing that we need it to combo with is just double jab, and just like it doesn't combo with double jab, that's fine. But like I'm down to discard an indiscriminate shock to go find a Blue Flame Palm Strike in order to play the Heroic Clash, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think that was the other way to. I was thinking about it as I've got also first day of class, honorable forfeit, and double jab pummel to make my checks better.
Yeah, all great ones for sure. I'm gonna go grab one more card real quick.
Okay.
Tell me about your foundation base, because I think I like your attack lineup, and I think I just want you to try the attack lineup you currently have. And maybe this is just like a really cool, like if you're not liking how Heroic Clash feels, you could easily just replace both Heroic Clashes for the zero gravity barriers, and you can make some small adjustments, like you don't need Blue Flame Palm Strike anymore and stuff like that.
So I was looking for foundations to either make sure I can refill my hands, use momentum if I can get it, because the other thing that I was looking at with the indiscriminate shock was it's a fast, low damage, get the momentum in there, and that makes sure that successful results is active, requesting assistance is active.
Sure.
So,
I think
and
with 4 jolt, triple lift, and the blue flame, I think you're going to be sitting pretty on momentum. Better than what shock could do, because it actually like puts pressure on your opponent.
and that's the thing. I didn't even think about blue flame palm strike. So
Yeah, that is fair. That's fair.
And then chivalrous competitor. So make sure I understand its response correct. If my opponent goes to destroy one of my foundations, I could flip this and prevent the destruction?
Correct. They play Evil Gaze, and they pay their 2 health. It gets -2 speed. Then proceed to block, and then before they get to target anything to destroy, you just flip this instead and say, all your action did was you paid 2 health in order to get -2 speed. You don't get to blow a thing up.
Gotcha. Okay. And then of course with Nezu, it's you draw 1 card, I draw 2.
Correct. Yeah, that ability's very, very good.
And then Petty Squabble. If there's multiple copies of a card, foundation-wise, I can discard one of the cards I have, commit it, or if I'm trying to go for the kill and I have the foundations, I can commit my character. Both player discards 2 cards and draw 2 cards, which is drawing me 3 cards.
It doesn't, because you've committed your character, so you don't get a chance to respond.
You're right. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
right.
just, yeah.
So, it might be able to get drawn. I would like to, because sitting at 19 low blocks, if I remember correctly. 18 low blocks now. So I would like to try to, if we drop it, try to figure out some low blocks to replace it.
Sure. Yeah, that's totally fair. I'm gonna hit the refresh page, and I've got 3 more cards I wanted to add to the thing. So I'm gonna jump in and talk about these cards really quick, right? First and foremost, nothing to see here. Any of your cards that are mids, so your double jab pummel, your jolt, heroic clash, blue flame palm strike, if fully blocked, they destroy a foundation, which is very good. But more importantly, enhanced discard momentum. This deck gets -3 speed is nuts. It's a very good use of momentum. Wand of Nature says that your moves actually hit. I discard a card and then get the +2, essentially +2 speed. Charged Up is nuts if you need to snap momentum for heroic clash and / or jolt and / or zero gravity lift in order to like make tactics happen. Frozen's just a good ass card. Irrefutable Force of Nature is just a good ass card. Plus Ultra is important, just to exist in the sideboard. I wanted to put it here. And then 3 new cards is Class Lineup, which is just like a good card. Selectively commit a foundation. Training Weights actually gives your Chaos deck damage, since your name's not Tokoyami. And then Award the Victor is one of the sickest tactics with Heroic Clash. Because this is a floating effect that happens, because like you just discard the momentum and then this thing guaranteed fires. It just will happen, right? So you play the Heroic Clash and it hits them, right? You then respond with Award the Victor, put the Heroic Clash on top, and then Heroic Clash's ability will resolve, and then you'll draw your 2 cards. They'll draw 2 cards, then you draw a third, and then you draw the Heroic Clash you just hit with. So if you have 2 momentum, you get to play Heroic Clash again.
Okay.
It's neat, and it's another 3. So you can go trade it out for In the Typhoon if you want. So my question for you is, does any of that sound cool?
I didn't even think about I didn't know that was the interaction, how that interaction would work.
Yeah.
Because the only card I know interaction wise with the Award the Victor is Nina 1. So I really like the Award the Victor Heroic Clash combo. And Training Weights, I faced it in the provisional on Sunday, and I got to see its power up close and personal.
Yeah, especially with things like requesting assistance to get to and successful results to get to re-ready a bunch of things. It feels very strong, and you can just you can discard it to go find a 2-diff or discard a 2-diff to go find it, and this might be what it takes to actually be able to get damage on your stuff. So my question is what of this sounds cool? What do you want me to add to the deck?
Let's add. How many mid attacks do we have? Double jab,
pummel, jolt, clash, blue flame. So 4, 8, 10, 11. Literally half.
Yeah. Okay. So nothing to see here would affect half of the attacks, which is good.
Yeah.
1/1.
Say again.
I'm sorry. I was thinking one with nature. Like you make all of them sound good, and that's I'm sitting here going, I didn't even think about all of this.
Yeah.
That's why we're on 4 of 17, right?
Correct. Yeah. And that is definitely the point Andrew was making. Is this deck takes a lot of work figuring it out.
So yeah, no, I like. I don't know how I feel about class lineup. I could see it as a one of.
Yeah, that's all it would be at, is as a one of. Especially because you get to go find it, and also if you need the foundation, you just discard it, go find a 1-diff. You can go pick it up later if you want it. That's the power of your character. Is he doesn't just say you go pick up attacks. He says that you go replace the successful results actually isn't doing anything for me right now. I'll go pick up Chivalrous Competitor. Oh, Chivalrous Competitor actually isn't doing anything for me right now. I'll go pick up the Struggling Studies, right? There's just different options that you can go pick up.
And he's also, and while it's not as the other thing that I was thinking realizes it's not as often as some other characters, but it is that I really need this low block. Let me grab that low block.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, let's see if we can't fit nothing to see here. One with nature. Award the victor in training weights in the class lineup.
So Noda charged up, frozen, irrefutable.
I don't know about frozen. Charged up, I've never really I've used it back in the past, and I've never been. To me, it's always felt like a trap. For me. Sure.
This card does 2 things in your deck. Number 1, it says that you get to jolt something that's good after you touch them. It also snaps your momentum for your heroic clash. So you play jolt, have a jolt in the discard pile, and then play a shock or whatever, right? Make them discard and you'll draw 2, and then you go clash. And then since you jolted them earlier, you lost a ready foundation, but you committed their best resource, I don't know, you can't escape me, and then you played your clash in order to draw your 3 cards, and then continue popping off.
Out of the 3 of those, I would probably say charged up in your Force of Nature.
Sure. I'm not positive that we need charged up. It's just a cool card, right? So maybe we'll put it in at a 2 of, and I think Force of Nature is messed up, so we're gonna put it at a 2 of as well. All right, so now we got 100 cards in our deck. So let's start cutting things that just don't make sense. First and foremost, double self-assured does not make sense. We play 1 of this if we play any at all. I think that your ability to go and find a card that you want with the correct block zone is way better than having this bad 2/4, and you don't have enough range cards to make the draw work.
Right. That's what I went back and double checked, and we lost a lot of cards, so I'm fine with cutting it out.
Yeah, it's gone. Successful results as a 4 of, I think, is trolling. I think this is a beautiful 2 of. Discarding that momentum is a very high cost, and people aren't going to get a deadlock against you because of basic training. That means that they're not going to go to deadlock for you for successful results. They're just not. It's very cool. It's probably not. It's probably just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's my figuring out deck building and just other decks and stuff on my own. It's my everything is like, oh, this has got to be a 4 of. This got to be a 4 of. And I've got a friend of mine who's like, if you make everything 3 of, you get more room for cards.
You do. Struggling with studies. It's taking the same spot as Chivalrous Competitor. And so like we just have to make this number a little bit lower just because like it's taking our slot. I think this set of 3 of and this set of 3 of is like really, really good in most decks. We want to play 4 of this card, so this card just has to take be benched for it. If you need to sideboard the third and take out a Chivalrous Competitor for like sideboard options, you totally can.
Okay.
League Interview, beautiful 2 of. We're going to replace it with a Requesting Assistance. Release here is fine. This honestly should just be a 2 of. I know this card is very cool. You never want to see more than 1 of this in your hand, specifically because we're playing a 1-check. We want to see 1 of this, and even then, it's risky. If we see any of these turn 1, we just don't get to build them. We just don't get to. Because, like, I check a 1 on it, and it's my turn's over. I skipped my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Form, pass your turn. Sounds awful. Right? And it's the same thing with, like, Award the Victor. We only get to play 2 of it. And if you feel like you need more in the Typhoons, we added Award the Victor. And we just pray we don't see them turn 1. We pray.
Right.
The Singleton Confused. Hit me with that card.
That was actually meant to be in the sideboard, not in the main deck. I clicked the wrong button.
Fair enough. Is gone. And then from here, what number we at? We're back down to 73, which is horrendously high for a 22 attack deck. But we should be using our cards to draw cards, right?
Right.
If I had to, let's look at our block zones. I mean, our block zones did get a little bit higher, but I want to take and go look at the high blocks that we have. Charged Up Release, Villains Defeated. I'm going to drop you down to a 2 of. Award, Easily Excited is going to push up to a 4 of. And then I think we're going to put Charged Up at a 1 of. Just to try and cut our numbers a little bit. My goal is to get this to 70. Block zones. So many high blocks here. That is just like the idea of jolt, lift, pummel, right? Like that's just like what we.
What about?
Oh my goodness! Only the 1, and then mids leak. I think we could take Graceful and drop it down to a 1 of and feel fine. And then 71. Maybe this is just good enough to test. Maybe it's good enough to test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is that also counting Nezu though?
No. If you look up at the top, this says 0 cards.
Okay.
Yeah. Because whenever we come here, underneath it, it would say set main character.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts?
So, explain to me League Interview at 2. It's a 6 check.
Yeah.
So
it is a first form. You never really want 2 of them on your board. The response is good, but like it's really touchy. It's just a 2/6 with a 3 mid block. It is neat to have. It is cool that it's a 6 check. I'm not going to base any of my strategies around it needs to be in my deck, right?
Okay.
Like it's good, right? But like it's just fine. It's just fine. I think that the card is really, really rad. And you're not playing anything on you're not playing anything that's dependent on having a card in your discard pile, like a Meteor Shower deck. You're not playing anything that's like you're trying to play a 6 diff as your first attack in the card pool. And so like the first form is literally just lubricant, so that if you check a 3 on a 4, you didn't. Right? And so like when you put it that way, it's just like the first move that you play, you didn't commit 1 resource, or you only commit 1 resource. Like it's fine, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the times that you like check a 6 when you needed a 6 is going to be so slim, because what's really going to happen is you're going to need a 3 check, and you're going to check this 6, and you're going to be like, yeah, man, oh wow, I checked a 6, holy cow. And it didn't matter. You could have checked literally anything but the heroic clash in your deck, and you'd have nailed it.
Right.
right?
Okay, yeah, that's what one of the things is that.
6 checks have rose-tinted glasses on them because they produce hype moments, right?
Right.
All of my math attacking into your deck is, oh, he has to check a 6 to get there, and his deck is all 5s and 3s. And so when you do happen to hit that 0.00001% chance to hit it, and you do, you feel good, and you're like, yo, I did the thing. This is the reason the 6 is in my deck. And that's just like, it's just not mathematically sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
With that said, though, right? Like, the fire symbol is allowed to play oops all 6s, right? There's like an absolute fuck ton of 6s on the fire symbol. And so at that point, when you decide to like change your math and be like, yo, I don't care about the card text, the things that are on the board, I only care about the little blue number on my card, then we can start like we said, I don't care about my card text, I only care about the blue number, and I can have 16 of these blue numbers be 6s. That's a different deck. That's a different story.
Yeah, it reminds me of, set one Mount Lady when she had 12
right
6s in her
Correct.
deck.
Correct. With that, man, I think this is a good enough deck to test and see what you like and what you don't like specifically. I think there's a lot of cool stuff here. I'm actually gonna take this Award the Victor down to a 1 of, exclusively because I want this number to be nice and round. and it's a 3 diff that only works with like one cool thing in our deck.
Right.
Yeah.
And if need be, I can always turn that in the Typhoon into the Award the Victor if it's in the discard pile.
Correct. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for the support on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. Let me shoot you a copy of the list, and you have a good rest of your night, okay?
You too. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Peace.